Recently, I attended Gamescom in Cologne and I had a chance to play Battlefield 1 for over 2 hours.
Spotted a soldier!
The content that was available was the open beta build that you're going to be able to play on your own within the next few days.
Spotted an enemy horse rifle!
These are my thoughts and impressions of Battlefield 1, the new map Sinai Desert, and yes, horses. What is Battlefield? Well, imagine a situation when you get in a plane, you fly over to Point Bravo, Butter this time around, then you jump out, you're called noob for taxiing, then you glide down on your parachute, you shoot someone in the back, and then get a headshot from a camper hidden somewhere in the hills. So yeah, that pretty much sums up the game. And Battlefield 1, despite its setting being World War I, is still that kind of game. We do get vehicles that people were using during that conflict, we do get that feeling, but at the same time the dynamics of the game didn't change much, as well as all those crazy stunts that you can pull off. So if you're looking for a game that's historically correct in every aspect, this isn't the one you're looking for. Move along. For now we got to see two maps, St. Quentin Scar from the closed alpha, and now Sinai Desert that will be available in the open beta in the next few days. I got used to BF1 pretty quick, although the game has some changes in the gameplay. Sinai Desert has deep Battlefield roots, although it's made in such a way as to work with some limitation that this game introduces. So we do get tanks, planes, more or less armored vehicles, and horses.
Watch it!
I was honestly amazed by how the models of horses were created. There is so much detail in that animal. I managed to get killed a few times just because I was staring at it from different angles. Its movement is smooth, although there has been some problems with my horsey not jumping over small obstacles, but vaulting over a huge wall. So maybe we can get a unicorn camo for it at some point, I don't know. Or a Pegasus. Yeah, that would work. When it comes to how useful the horse is, it has some pros and cons. You do get a rifle for mid-range combat and a saber to cut down enemies that are close, but at the same time you're not very covered. Riding a horse and shooting ain't easy, so you mostly aim for the body instead of a head, but it does its job in 2 or 3 shots. I don't like the reach of the saber though. At the moment it's too much and it's too easy to insta-kill someone with it.
Return to the combat.
You can always roadkill an enemy with a horse, but you need to remember that your horse can also be killed. That's a good thing gameplay-wise, but I hope there won't be any shitstorm regarding killing animals. There is no real reason for it, it's just natural for a battlefield and for war. In terms of other vehicles, I'm really happy with the modular constructions of them. If you want, you can use a stationary cannon to immobilize a tank or lower its offensive capabilities by destroying its main cannon. The same goes for the Behemoth, which is the armored train that the losing team gets. I was in a situation where the gun in my car was damaged and I was trying to shoot someone, but it was pointing to the ground all the time, and I couldn't really be useful. And no, that was not a bug, it was a feature. Only thing you can do in such a situation is become Jeremy Clarkson and hope that using a hammer will be enough to repair it. By the way, do you remember the huge Zeppelin from St. Quentin Scar? The Behemoth works the same way here, and I get a feeling that we'll get such a vehicle on every map. You could actually spot a huge ship in the BF1 trailer that was released for Gamescom. Luckily, these vehicles do not completely turn the tide of the game if the losing team doesn't start doing their job, so for now, it's pretty balanced. There have been some changes in the classes. As you may know, we have Assault, Medic, Support, and a Scout available in the game, with Assault taking some of the Engineer's job. Additionally, you become either a pilot or a tank driver when you spawn in a corresponding vehicle as a first player. You can now add a horseman to the mix, as there is such a class when you spawn on a horse. What we couldn't see on St. Quentin Scar though was the elite classes that you can pick up on the map. For now there were 3 equipment pickups that allowed for becoming a flame trooper, with a flamethrower obviously, a sentry with huge machine gun and lots of defense but no gas mask, and a tank hunter who, well, he basically does what the name says. He's like an anti-tank sharpshooter. I only played the Flame Trooper, whom I really liked, and a Sentry who I think I'm not going to play ever again. He totally doesn't match my gameplay style, but I can see its usefulness on the battlefield. So what you could basically say is that Battlefield 1 is not revolutionary, but it made a lot of progress. I think that DICE actually got all the best from the Battlefield series and added some things they came up with while doing Battlefront. This is especially visible in terms of the user interface and soldiers' movements, and in the graphics as well. You can sometimes get a feeling that instead of being on Sinai Desert, you're actually on Tatooine. I do feel that some of the weapons look less metallic, but that's because of the light. The same weapons looked much better on St. Quentin's car covered in rain. Though I must admit that I fell in love with audio in this game. It's been redone, the sound of your gun, the way you reload, and all the bullets flying next to your head. It's just amazing. Also, melee fights feel more dynamic this time around. In Battlefield 3 and 4, it felt like it was a pretty slow animation that just had to be played out from beginning to an end, but here you can almost feel the guts being pierced with a bayonet or the skull crack under your trench weapon. It feels much more brutal, and I think it suits this setting very well. There's also dynamic weather that is a step up compared to what we know from Battlefield 4. You probably remember Parasol Storm that suddenly had a scripted launch of bad weather. It was good, but it was predictable, and it was getting boring at some point. This time around, there are 2 or 3 weather conditions variations that are randomly placed on the map, so we can actually start one map in full sun that is later substituted with rain that leaves the whole place foggy after the rain stops. On Sinai Desert, there was the sandstorm that completely changed gameplay for some players like scouts, who are literally useless in these conditions. So if I was to sum up Battlefield 1, I must say that I really like it as a fan of the series. I like how the game builds on what we already know and modifies the gameplay according to the setting and available weaponry, balancing it but not getting rid of dynamic skirmishes that we fell in love with. If you're not sure that you want to buy the game, you need to check the open beta that starts in just a few days. But if you can't stand Battlefield as a game because the gameplay style is not what you like, this game will not make you change your mind. Give it a try for free since you have that chance, and you'll know how bad you want it. Or maybe not. I know I'm going to be playing it for sure. So these are my thoughts regarding Battlefield 1. I hope you're going to enjoy the game as much as I did during Gamescom when open beta starts on the 31st of August. I'll see you on the battlefield.